Alright, hello everyone. My name's Stump, and this is going to be Crash to Any Percent No Game Over reviews. So I'm going to start this, and I'll count down to the moment of starting timing because that's when we gain control in the warp room. That I'm pressing during the sliding, and then spinning. And spinning without a direction held after the slide preserves the momentum from the slide through the duration of the spin, but the cooldown on slides still runs. So that allows me to move continuously at sliding speed. And from each level I'm going to be collecting the crystal, but no other items. And every 5 of those will result in a boss fight. And I'm skipping the third mask box there because the neutral slide spin doesn't go as fast when you are in the invincibility form that you get from that. There is one exception later in the game where I will be getting a third mask. But for standard platforming levels, that's not what well, I won't be doing that. And in this side-scrolling part, you can see that the spin animation's a little bit tilted when I'm sliding, when I'm doing the spin off of a neutral slide spin. That shows that it is continuing the momentum. So now we'll enter Hang 8. And this level has a few sections where I slide one off the edge before I jumped. So this level type has these sections where I'm riding on this board and I have a boost that I can do. And there and a few other places before, I did a slide jump and spun immediately after that, and that causes you to go a little bit higher. That's known as a glitch high jump. And then that timer that was running is what caused that gem to be there. But since this is in any percent category, actually collecting it would only waste time, so I went around it. There would be another one of those animations in the warp room of Crash throwing the item into the air and watching it float into its spot. Now these birds, if I jump a little bit over them and then spin, I can get knocked forward by them. That'll push me a little bit more. And then we go down the left path here because that's where the crystal is. So, I got an unexpected bounce off that enemy, and well, the same button that does slides does body slam if you press it when you're in the air, so sometimes that can happen when you bounce when you didn't think you were going to. And for being able to escape from these pits with the glitch high jump, I should mention that I am running this on the PAL version of the game. Crash moves a little bit faster and jumps a little bit higher, and that allows some things like that that other versions of the game can't do. And in 2 levels in the last warp room, there's also a specific skip that is exclusive to that version of the game. So you'll be skiing that. Okay, this is Crash Dash. We got a boulder chasing us. Neutral slide spinning gets us quite far ahead of it. Gotta make sure I get that crystal though. And on the last boulder chase in each level, there are often boxes that are behind some obstacle that makes the boulder skip over them. That is to make the box jump a little bit harder, especially when you don't have, well, especially casually. So that was the 5th crystal, so this is the first boss fight, Ripperoo. There's a phase of TNTs, a phase of nitros, and then he becomes vulnerable to be hit. 3 hits and he's dead. And I slide against him to get the hit on the first opportunity. But the TNT and nitro patterns are exactly the same every time. So all you have to do is be in the safe spot. Also, you can bounce on him without getting hurt. So that's the final nitro phase, the final hit. And that's 1 boss out of 5. So yeah, we have 5 more levels to get the crystal out of. And this one will be another snow level. One with a lot more ice. And this new type of enemy. Normally, walking up to one of them Normally walking up to one of them causes their spikes to extend well before you get there. And touching it then kills you. But with the extra speed from neutral slide spinning, you get there before the spikes are fully extended, so you don't have to worry about that. And this level is another one of the ones with boarding on the water. And this time there are moving platforms. I use a mask to go through those without having to wait. It's alright to use up our masks there because the next level doesn't let you use masks. That's a type of level we haven't seen yet. Bear level. Where you're riding a baby polar bear who continuously moves forward. Which can be an issue in 100% because if you miss a box, you need to either death warp or restart. There is a charging move that gives you a small boost of speed. One of the things about this type of level is the occasional tricky arrangement of boxes like those last three. That would be a fairly tight reversal of movement I would have had to do to make sure I got all those boxes if this were 100%. And then we have Crash Crush. This is a boulder chase level. And it adds a few new things to the level. Notably, these electric gates. I need to slide under them. Now the slight tilt on the spinning in a part of a neutral slide spin does lower you enough to get under the electric gates of this level. But there is one more boulder chase level in the next warp room where they're a little bit lower and you can't do that. So you have to be sure you're on the sliding phase in that one. there are a huge number of those boost pads in this level. You can't even see the boulder. And the last part of this warp room is another new type of level. This is a sewer level, where there are occasionally those pools of water that have an electric eel occasionally electrifying them. So that introduces cycles to this. Yep. So I was trying to do a zigzag jump to get over that, but I landed a little tiny bit short. But by alternating diagonals in this, you can get a little bit farther, move a little bit faster. And then we got this sort of hanging grid. Now there is one more level in Warp 4 that has that blue grid, but that is the place where we will be trying to use third mask form, because you move much faster in that form on these. But here is boss 2, the Komodo brothers. So one spins the other around the room, you spin them back in, and then knives get thrown. Repeat twice. And this phase always goes 3/4 of the way around the room, yeah, counterclockwise. So if you stand in the quarter of the room that the knives won't reach, you can stand there. But that's 2 warp rooms finished. And plant food is another waterboard level. I often bring I often have a, well, since there are so many mask boxes in this level, you typically go right through that first pair of mines if you have an extra mask. And then I use this mask to not have to go ahead on the platforms that are to the right and pre-kill the flowers. Without a mask, I would have to go do that and then come back to the board. Right. Here's sewer later, another sewer level. And one of the new things is these enemies with blowtorches. Those have a very wide range. So I will be using a lot of my masks in this level to take the hit and skip them. And there are also those fast-moving fans. But if I position myself right on this one, I wanted to try that at least once without a mask to... There we go. If you're positioned exactly right, you can keep pushing forward after going, after killing the enemy, and you fit right through the gap that the enemy knocks in the fan. And since I have two masks and there are two of those, I'll take the two hits and not have to wait for them. And now we have another bear level. This one has some longer pools, so this is the one that introduces places where you have to do the charge jump. Not that I wouldn't be doing those anyway. And there are also those where I have to be sure I'm either on or off the ground as appropriate. And what I went over there, getting onto that platform would be an entrance to the secret warp room, but that's a 100% thing. And we have another new level type, Road to Ruin, Ruins level. These have a lot more small platforms and platforms that fall. And with the glitch high jump, you can go over the fire. And then the last level in this warp room is sort of half a boulder chase level and half a bear level. It's not boulders that are chasing you, it's bears. But those are the electric gates that are positioned a little bit lower than they were in Crash Crush. So I do have to be sure that I'm on the sliding phase of the movement to get under them. And then for the last chase, you're on the bear. So, two different ones. And those are the levels of Warp 3. And the boss that's coming up now is Tiny. And this fight is probably the only real place where there's RNG in this game. We hop around these platforms and 3 of them drop. And hopefully you're about to put Tiny over one of the ones that's dropping, which is what happened there. And then that's 1 hit out of 3. Although this time only 2 platforms will drop. But we still get Tiny going right onto 1. And then here's the part where the... Alright, we got a side. And Tiny's down. We didn't get a good crawl for the 3rd phase, but the first 2 were good. So here's the 4th warp room, and I'm going to be doing this one out of order because of that 3rd mask form that we want in Hanging Out level 16. But we want that off of the first mask in the level, so we need to bring 2 masks into the level. And this is the level that I used to try and do that. So there's the 2 masks. Now, to get out of the level with them intact is the thing. And now we have the bees. Where once you pass the hive, they'll chase you up to a specific pit. Also, those intermittent electric gates, you saw me do a glitch high jump over one. I spun when I knew I was landing near one of the near one of those exploding fruit. And that's because when you're spinning, you can't be hit by the explosion. But that's... no, that's 2 masks, so we can do hanging out. And this is a sewer level. Alright, now we're in the blue grid section. Where there are some of these to avoid. But I had to keep those masks so that we can do this. So not only do I not have to worry about the exact positioning of those, but I move a lot faster on the grid. And since there's so much of that in the area immediately after that box, that's why we do still get the third mask form there. But that's hanging out. And then Ruination is another ruin level. One of the things in it is box arrangements that are similar to those in Road to Ruin, but with a nitro mixed in. So you have to watch out for those. This is to reset that fire cycle, although there is a random chance when you fall into a pit that shoes animation happens. And that caused that reset to be a little bit slower than waiting for the cycle, but most of the time, shoes don't happen. And this is Cold Hard Crash, another snow level. One of the things that we'll be doing in this level that's a little different from others is that we will be taking a death route. And that's because it bypasses a section of the main part of the level that takes longer to do than the death route does. And because this death route does bypass some of the main part of the level, but also has boxes on it. This is a rather infamous box gem in casual play, because you need to hit this switch at the end of the route and then backtrack to the boxes that got filled in. So instead of dealing with that in the 100% category, we actually do a box duplication glitch. But that's not something you need to worry about in this category. And then the last level of this warp room is behaving, where there are a lot more bees, and they move faster. And that dark ground in this and in Diggin' It are... well, that's ground that you can get under, and you do that by spinning on it. But spinning off of a slide doesn't activate that. But neutral slide spinning is fast enough to get away from the bees anyway. Yeah, that was spinning to not take a hit from that explosion. So that is the one place, since I didn't have a mask, that I did need to go underground. Ideally, I would have spun one of the bees into the nitro switch, but that didn't quite work out. And so, boss number 4, Engine, has your attacks replaced with shooting fruit. Alright, 9 and 8. Each of the hands needs 10 hits to die. And ideally we kill both at once, like you see there. And then I'll do the same for the shoulders. So that's 1 and 3. 3, 3. Alright, I have both of them one away from death, but I knew that I couldn't get the last hit in, so I stopped. And the reason for that is that if you kill one but not the other, the other one gains some health and you have to hit it more times. And that would apply to the hands if I were to only have killed one of those also.
Will be very displeased with your resistance. Prepare to suffer his wrath.
Oh, only 5 levels remain. That includes 2 new types. So this is piston it away. And the main mechanic here is these the cycles on the pistons. I was a tiny bit early on the jump input for that glitch high jump there. So I instead did a glitch low jump, which is a little bit shorter than a regular jump. There we go. And now you have those switches there. Those activate shrink ray particles. But if you're spinning when one hits you, then it doesn't hit you. And also there are those lab assistants with the shields. And that interesting scream. And this level is Jetpack Level, which we haven't seen before. And this is one of the places where there's a... This is the level type that features that PAL-specific skip of these floating electric enemies. Normally you have to hit them twice into that plasma field that lies past them, but if you keep pushing forward, only in the PAL version you go through where the enemy ends up, and the plasma field isn't actually there. This is Night Fight, which is like the Woods levels, but is in the dark. So you have to hit these fireflies, and they follow you for a short time to light the way. And the timing on them is such that with continuous walking, so continuous casual movement, you can one runs out right as you get to the next one. So the length of overlap is a nice way to see how much time is saved with the neutral slide spinning. Now we have another jetpack level. So like the other one, this is mainly about avoiding the obstacles and skipping these. Yeah, sometimes those floating wires can surprise you. Especially since you can't always predict how they'll begin. And one more level remains. But it's one of the tougher ones. That one with a couple of interesting tricks in it. This is Spaced Out, which is another piston level. And it adds these platforms, the sides of which are harmful. And then there's this section behind glass, where by doing a glitch high jump and bouncing off the top of this enemy, we can get on top of the glass and skip dealing with the nitros and enemies that are down below. So that's the last level, so there's our 25 crystals. So it's time to defeat Cortex. And, well, this is probably one of the less interesting fights in the Crash series, though. All you really have to do is chase Cortex and hit him when you get close. 3 hits kills, and the third hit will be time. Get ready on time. And time.
You haven't seen the last of me, Crash Bandicoot!
Alright, so that is Crash to any % no-go. My name is
Welcome to Cortex. And what about the Cortex Vortex? It's still up
Stump.tv
there.
redirects to my Twitch channel. And, yeah. Oh, time for, collect the competitors in the upcoming part of this, and to everyone left in the showcase part, too.